Okay, so we'll talk a small topic about this. It's highly important to understand. In reality, when you go for any customer or when you do design, when you do configuration, you will have MDF. Or we can also call it as a data center. Maybe it's in the ground floor. Okay. In the data center, let's say you also have ground floor, first floor. Maybe you have camera, CCTV camera connected in ground floor plus your first floor. Then you have, for example, 20 camera here and the 20 camera here in the first floor. So the ground floor 20 camera, you will be connected to ground floor switch. All the cameras will coming to the switch. And we will also have a first floor switch, and all the cameras will be connected to first floor switch. You know, the connectivity from the camera towards to the switch should not cross 90 meters. Okay, and even from the camera, you have a copper camera and you have a fiber camera. We'll talk about general. So this switches, we call it as access switch. Let's say ACS1, ACS2, access switch. And the access switch belongs to a room. You will have a rack first of all. You will have a one rack here, and you have another rack here. Let's say I'm gonna call this is rack 2, R2, and this is rack 3. And you have a room to keep this rack. Room. This room, we call it as IDF. Hope you understood. So in first floor, or in the ground floor and first floor, you have a specific room. This room, we call it as an IDF. And within this IDF, you may have more than one rack, depends upon the quantity that you have. You have a UPS. You have many other devices within the IDF. Maybe access control system, maybe building management system, BMS device, AC, UPS 1 and 2, then the PDU, then multiple rack, depends upon the quantity that you have in your floor. But we simply talking about, you have an IDF and you have an ACS. So we will be correlate between them. The switch where your camera connected called access switch. And the access switch located room we call as IDF. Is that clear? Hope so. Now we're coming back to MDF. This MDF room, let's say you have, we talk about the small design, you have a one rack. So let's say, which color? You have a one small rack. The MDF, you may have more than one rack. So let's say I have rack 1 and rack 2. Rack 2. Okay. Then I have two switch. One switch here and one switch here. This is the best practice and recommended solution always. This switch, I'll name it CSW1. Core, C means core, SW means switch, and 1 means switch 1. And this is CSW1. core switch 2. And we will run a cable between them to connect. This connectivity between them we called as a stack. So most of the name, a terminology, are new for you. Hope so you may understand, but if you didn't understand in one shot, we can have a discussion again and again. Okay. Why we recommended 2 core switch? Always we keep dual switch for redundancy purpose. Okay. Now you have a CCTV camera here. It must need a CCTV server for recording. So I'll keep, let's say, one server here. This is, we call it as RS1, recording server 1. And this is, we call it as recording server, or let's say failover recording server, FORS, failover recording server. Then whatever we're talking about here, do not think this is only the final design. No. The design which we are talking about here can be modified and we can discuss in a different way. This is, we just talking about the simplest methodology. And all the designs are perfect. All the designs are correct. And we will produce multiple design to the customer and we'll put a different margin on it. So the customer will decide it based on their margin, which design is suitable to them. This is one of the least and the lowest budgetary design. This recording server will have 2 NIC here and 2 NIC here. Okay. And this design also have 1 iDRAC port. iDRAC. The iDRAC is nothing but your management port. And this NIC1 and NIC2 for your recording server to talk to your camera. Let's say now I'm going to pull the cable between recording server to the switch. This cable again, you may have fiber or you may have copper. So let's say I'm going to pull one cable from recording server to core switch 1 and the one with core switch 2 for redundancy. And this always go via patch panel and are underneath of the rack or top of the rack, there is a bay or cable manager, something. It will go via properly. Then we have second recording server failover, will go one connection here and one connection to here. Why we pull 2 cable? If one core switch goes down or one connectivity goes down, till we have a reachability to the camera with alternate path. So the best recommended solution always have a backup solution or redundant solution to any device. So this is, we call it as a recording server 1 and failover recording server. If the recording server goes down, the failover recording server will take place. Now we have access switch 1 and access switch 2 should connect it to your core switch. Again, the between your core switch and your access switch, we will pull the connectivity via patch panel. But here we will just mention the connectivity plan. From the access switch 1, I'll pull one cable to my core switch 1 and the access switch 1 to the second cable to the core switch 2. Okay, the reason for 2 cable, if one cable goes down or if one switch goes down, I have an alternate path. Always we recommended to have a dual link between any device to any device. And the second link from the core switch 2, sorry, from the access switch 2 to the core switch, let's say I pull this cable like to here. I'll put a different color, by the way. What color? Okay. One to here. So this is the first switch. One to here and one to here. So what we are understanding from here, you have two core switch. Core switch 2, core switch 1. You have access switch 1. This core switch 1 and 2 are stacked. And the core switch 1 will connect a 2 link. And you have a camera here connected to your access switch. And you have a server here. This is your recording server. The recording server will also have a 2 link. Okay. Now, your camera will talk to your recording server through this link. Your camera will talk to your recording server via access switch to the core switch and to the recording server. Also, you have an alternate path. If one goes down, the other one will take your place. Okay, so always we cannot put a dual link towards to the camera because most of the edge device will have a single connectivity, single cable. But I saw some access points, Wi-Fi will have a 2 NIC. But your core switch, here you have a core switch and here you have an access switch. So the core layer, we call it as a core layer, which is located in your MDF room. And you have an access layer, which is in the IDF. So now you have only two layers, access layer and the core layer. And your servers are directly connected to your core switch. It can be, if there is no alternate solution. This is the least and the common solution when you have any network technology. So instead of camera, let's say I'm going to put Wi-Fi AP. Okay. So here, because of CCTV camera, you need a CCTV server. Because of Wi-Fi access point, you need Wi-Fi controller, WLC, wireless LAN controller. Will also have a dual link connected. Or you may have phone, IP phone. Will connect it to your access point. Your telephone should need a server to keep the telephone extension numbers. So that we call it as many names again. Example, CUCM, Cisco Unified Communication Manager, or UC, Unified Communication Manager. When it comes to Avaya, we call it as Communication Manager. This Communication Manager also have dual link. So in shortly, you have edge device connected to your access switch. Your edge device connected to your access switch, which is in the IDF. Then, depends on what edge device that you have, you need a server to provide the services to that edge device. If it's a camera, you need a recording server. If it is IP phone, you need a telephone server. If it is, let's say, Wi-Fi edge device, you need a Wi-Fi server. If it is an access control system controller, client device, you need the respective server. And the server will connect it to the core switch. Core switch 1 and core switch CSW2. Always your server must need a dual connectivity. Some people say that single connectivity is enough. So we need to explain them that this is the drawbacks when you have a single connectivity. So if we explain them and they know the issues that they may happen in the future, they will go for a dual connectivity. If we explain them well, then you must need a two connectivity. So what you need to clearly understand that your edge device always connected to your access switch, and your server farm or servers will be connected to the core switch, or they can be an alternate solution. This is called core switch, which is in the MDF, which is also called core layer. And this is called access layer. Today, enough just to explain about core switch and access switch, or core layer and access layer. Access layer. So this is called two-tier design. Yes, Masha.
Now
you can ask the
server
question.
has, the server is have a only one NIC. It's NIC.
Then there is no alternate solution. We cannot go for dual connectivity.
And is there, if they have any add-on card, you can able to do that?
If the server is allowable. Let's say this is all based on when we do design with the BOQ.
Okay.
Let's
just
say,
imagine now the server is NetApp server.
Okay.
Okay. Now I think we have done in one of the projects 15 petabyte.
Okay.
Okay. And there is a core switch HP other one. The server, which I'm just my clarification. Okay. So from the server, it's like a bay. You can add on all the recording server.
Okay. So I'll come to the conclusion. Let's see. There is a speed on the ports. It makes many points. First, you need to know, can the server support copper or fiber? And what is the speed?
Fiber.
Let's say starting from 100 Mbps, or let's say 1000 Mbps to 10,000 Mbps can be supportable by the servers. And the core switch, what kind of port it has? Let's say the core switch by default, it comes with the fiber, means there's a SFP module. Then this SFP module, I can use for copper as well as fiber. I need just a converter. If my server is a copper port, I don't have a choice to make them as a fiber, but my switch is a fiber. Then I need to have a converter. We call a 10 gig to or SFP converter will convert into from fiber to copper. We can use as a copper. That is the one option. Let's say my server already have a fiber. My switch also have a fiber. I can directly pull the fiber patch code. Then if my server port is 1000 Mbps, but my server farm switch is 100, 1000 or 10,000 Mbps, I can adjust back to 10,000 Mbps. But my server is 10,000 and my switch is 1000. I cannot get 10,000. It will be automatically adjusted to the lower speed. Now coming back to your point, if you have only a single NIC card, but you have a 2-core switch and you're planning for 2 connectivity from your server, check the specific model. The model can be adopt an extra NIC or not. Because what I understood that when we ordered the servers, if required a fiber module, we need to add an extra module on it. The server comes with the copper by default, but if we need a fiber, we need to add a fiber like a QLogic module, extra module. Okay. Then again, when you have a dual link, do not think that when you just connect a dual link from server to the core switch, it will start works. Now, depends upon what vendor that you have, what device, like a model. For example, HP 5000 model have a different commands than the Cisco series of switches. But the concept is called as the same. Example, the concept we call it as a port channel. We will learn more about this in the later class. So by having today's session, just we discussed about access layer and core layer, two layer. This is we call it as a two-tier design. We also implement from your edge device towards to your server with the help of three-tier hierarchy, adding an extra layer, which is more secure and more acceptable solution. When I say acceptable means the two-tier and the three-tier will be acceptable. We need to learn about two-tier, three-tier, and four-tier, all the design. And based on the customer requirement, we need to understand what kind of design they are looking into. Or we can propose all the possible design architecture to them, and we'll explain them the benefit and drawbacks about each different hierarchical design. The more layer that we sell will get more profit. The three-tier is better than two-tier. Four-tier is better than three-tier. But the customer will not accept the higher design because it's cost-effective. But if really required, based on their recommendation, even though they always try to put with the minimum level of design to minimize the budgetary. But we need to tell them the pros and cons about all the kind of design. We will come across all this, by the way, inshallah. Because we are, yeah.
If my server has a dual card, means a dual NIC card, okay?
Yes.
Then I have only one core switch.
Yes, even you can use a two link to get more bandwidth from the server perspective. Let's say you have one core switch or one switch, one server will have two NIC, NIC1 and NIC2, okay? This is 1 gig and this is 1 gig. And you have only single switch, one switch. You can connect two links to the same switch. By doing this, you can achieve the bandwidth. You will get 2 gig throughput speed instead of 1 gig. But the redundancy, when we talk about the redundancy concept, if the switch goes down, things goes down. But if one NIC goes down, you will get an alternate link. But by doing this, you can increase your speed of your transaction or the traffic.
Why I'm saying that this nowadays, all the switches coming with a dual power card, right?
You mean power supply?
Yeah, power supply, the dual.
Okay.
Two power card, you can add it in one switch. So
one switch, yes.
Fails, yeah, one fails, the other
yeah.
one.
So again, when we have a two power supply, let's say this is your rack. Okay. And you mount the switch to the rack. And the rack will have a PDU. Let's say this is main PDU. You know the concept of PDU, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is we can call it as a backup. We generally recommend it to connect this power cord to this PDU and this power code to this PDU. Okay. If this PDU goes down, still the switch can survive by releasing the power from the backup. But the question, where these two PDU receiving the power? Are they receiving from the same main outlet? Again, we have a design or solution here. Always we recommend it to go. The main PDU will come from the main wall. Let's say 230 volts, whatsoever, according to the country. The backup, or we call it as the name called UPS PDU. This PDU will connect it to UPS, correct? Okay. If the main power goes down, this PDU will off. So your UPS will start to serve the power, will come to your backup PDU. The backup PDU will serve to your switch. Okay. You have two UPS and you are trying to connect your two UPS into same PDU. Means your switch will get more power when your PDU up. When your PDU goes down, your switch goes down, irrespective of whether you connected two or you connected one. Always you have an extra power or extra connection from any device. You have to think about the proper design. What if the main goes down? Which are the possible way to get the alternate solution with a zero downtime? That is the idea behind. We need to think in that way. Okay, so always any unit, any device, irrespective of servers, switches, or anything, they always gave a secondary solution in terms of power, in terms of data connection, in terms of management connection, anything. The additional connectivity always talking about your redundancy. What if my main goes down? What are the best possible way to make them up with a zero downtime? So let's say then the requirement comes. Customer says that I have a two power supply. Then we're going to say that utilize the two. How can we utilize? Purchase one more UPS, purchase one more PDU, and we'll explain the benefit of the extra PDU. Then they said, yes, add an extra PDU. Then we're going to say that you have extra PDU, but you have both the PDU connected to the same power. What is the benefit? Nothing. Then purchase a UPS. So when we explain them the benefit or all this, the customer should not feel that power goes, the network goes down. It shouldn't be. Or power goes, their phone goes down. Power goes, the CCTV goes down. It shouldn't be. So we need to think, or we need to talk to them in this the business unit level. Let's say you are, example, you are achieving, example, 100K USD by not purchasing the UPS and by not purchasing your backup PDU. So you saved 100K. But what if the switch goes down, the camera goes down, and you are not able to run your entire premises with your camera or all the entity edge devices for next 2 hours? What is the business loss? Is it 100K or it's more? But other than that, not only the business or the amount, whoever come to that, they will realize that your network is not stable. They are not ready to fund in your business. They are not ready to come to your business, or it will be leakage. There will be a lot of problem, by the way. MOE will not accept. Or the end customer will have a fear that this network or the things are going down. So in order to avoid all this, always we have to have a best benefit from the business perspective. Then all your product in terms of edge device, servers, switches, PDU, everything gonna be utilized for your business solution. So whatever happened on the backend screen, it never affect your front-end design, or front-end people, or the edge user. Maybe a switch goes down, maybe a power goes down. Your end user will never realize that what's happening on the backend. That's a network team capability, or they have to make sure that things are running 100% with a zero downtime. Then you need extra switch, you need extra UPS, you need extra, whatever extra that we can. In order to explain them in all the way, we need to know the best practice design, or we need to think from the customer perspective. If we say something to the customer, what the customer will put the question to us, and what do we have any answer for that? We have to design, or we have to think in this way. We will never fail with our design. If we are not able to success our configuration, means we are failed with our design. If the design is not success, we cannot achieve with our program. That's what always will come the problem. Designer is different team, and the implementation are different team. And the sales team will commit many things to the customer, which will not put it in the BOQ, because the price will go high. Yes. Once the BOQ is released, when the engineer comes to the site, when they start for designing, configuring, they have a limitation for configuring based on the BOQ, which is not accepted by the customer. Then we'll start complaining, comes to the support, and the support team will suffer, because the design team or the configuration team will have a limited time frame for configuring. They do something and they will hand over. When the real issue comes across, once we deliver the device to the customer will going to use the solution maybe after 5 months or 6 months, when already start the support. Then it goes the questions to the support. For that, we will have a solution how to overcome this based on the design. We'll come across in the later classes, inshallah. And keep in mind, this all not cover from CCNA, by the way, in a common CCNA, but we are not running just a CCNA. We're running about our, whatever we learned, we have to achieve. And whatever we are learning, that will make our gap fill. Okay. Even you can also include your questions. Whenever you go at the site, you feel something which I may not know, you can talk to me, and we will, it's something like giving and taking the knowledge. You will have a more knowledge than me in a different field, in a different way, which I never think of, never seen. Okay, so whatever you have feelings, if I'm saying something that, no, this is wrong, Ali, we have something across, maybe because, you know, technologies are new and the ideas are new and everything's new things are coming across and we do not know. We are just talking about based on our knowledge only, which is not the actual knowledge in the industry. Things are coming new. So whatever you know, whatever you know, you can put it on to me so that we can increase our knowledge. Okay. So by going through CCNA, you not need to feel that this is just a CCNA. This is filling our gap with whatever that we can fill it up. We can fill it up, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, you had some questions. Go ahead.
No, this no, leave it. This today's channel. So
yeah, we discussed more. We discussed more. Yes.
Yes. Azim also little bit.
No.
Azim,
No.
Don't worry. For I know for you guys, this all a new topic, new concept.
I actually understand the concept. No issues.
We will never. Yeah, maybe you cannot understand in one shot. We will repeat it again. Okay, it is not matter how long I given the session. It's matter that how much you understood. It's based on that we can need to go further. Okay,
as it's good for both and even Ali also.
So this is all about today's session that we discussed, inshallah. So hope you understand the basics idea about CCNA certification and different vendor concept. Then the two-tier hierarchy, like access layer and the core layer. We'll come across with many topic in the upcoming session, inshallah. Hope you enjoyed the session today. Thank you. Have a good time from CML Infotech.